And hello. This is things you might not have heard from the Conversation Project, your home for headline news, information, and pop culture references that are worth chatting about. I'm Jay Payne, and today we're chatting a lot about Mr. President number 47, also 45, DJT, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. He's all in my teaser. He's all in the headline to get you in there. He's in the graphic right here. We have essentially 50% of the news is Donald Trump, and maybe even more if you think about it. 8 stories for you today that you deem conversational and you wanted to talk about Donald Trump. Now, we're not talking about the peace deal for Gaza quite yet. We're waiting for Hamas to actually answer that question. We're not talking about the government shutdown, which is less than 24 hours away, but plenty of other things that have happened in the orbit within the last day or so to chat up going forward. Plus, some other stories that are also interesting as well. Now, to make this thing happen, we put out news stories every 50 minutes or so on our news feed. So follow us there. They're on Facebook and X. Go to our website. It's a conversationproject.com. Find out more details about all the things about us around that. Plus, while you're there, check out the partnerships page. Check out more sponsors. And the sponsor we're spotlighting right now today is Ground News. You can follow them using our affiliate link. We get a small bit back. You get 40% off your deal to buy in on Ground News. We'll talk more about them towards the end of the show. Let's get into the show right now. As I said, 8 stories to talk about for today, for stories that you can conversation with in the last 30 hours or so, coming down the pike right now. And yes, off the bat, all 4, the first half, it's all Trump. Starting with the Trump tariffs, more Trump tariffs, as there are now 100% tariffs on foreign-made movies. You may scratch your head on that one. Many folks have. Now, the White House rolled out a 100% tariff action on films produced outside the U.S., framing it as a bid to repatriate jobs and curb offshoring in Hollywood. Although Hollywood is more than just Hollywood, it's also Georgia, it's also Detroit. Technically, it's Canada, but that's not in the border. Studios are warning that movie tariffs would boomerang on U.S. distributions and streamers that rely on global co-financing and foreign box offices, because everyone pays in on the movies, so making the foreign people pay more will make them all cost more money. That's how tariffs actually work. Trade groups are modeling price hikes, releasing some delays in the series, and likely seeing the fallout in festival imports if the tariffs actually hold through award seasons. Less Frenchy films in the United States because they're Frenchy, which may be what the point is. Now, economists note that past content quotas or tariffs often trigger retaliation. Europe and Canada are obviously the first ones to basically move these things because they're English language things, and they're selling just regular movies as opposed to just blockbusters. But celebrity reactions are kind of mixed. Some are actually want to bring production home and want to do less work in New Zealand. Others are calling it basically culture war economics, which it kind of is. Trump is throwing tariffs on everything to repatriate, make everything American again, mostly, or great again here. But I don't think he actually understands how they're working. The tariffs are bringing in extra money, but it's off the backs of us Americans paying the tariffs as they come in, because that's how they actually work. Meanwhile, he's still doing coal savings, or saving coal specifically, not actually saving it like stockpiling it, but saving the coal industry as administration expanding the leasing and funds coal plants through upgrades to keep coal going. Interior will open up about 13.1 million acres of federal land that'll be used for coal leasing. Department of Energy adds about $625 billion for reconditioning, retrofitting some coal plants out there, either putting them back to life or fixing them up so they're up to some sort of code for coal. EPA has signaled that the deadline relief on certain water pollution rules, and of course, part of these things that make keeping the environment cleaner, are part of the coordinated coal package, which is kind of odd. That's EPA talking about this stuff, because EPA is supposed to be keeping us safe from sort of environmental things. The EPA is backing away from many things that were supposed to keep us safe. Administration argues that coal capacity is needed for grid reliability and AI-driven demand. They might have a point there. Analysis are remaining skeptical on the cost competitiveness. Essentially, coal is useful, yes, but in the realm of oil, which is still abundant for the most part, and cleaner energies, newer energies, renewable energies, which are cleaner, renewable, and cheaper in a sense, don't have as much impact on the economics that is real and the environment that is also real. Things get lost. Environmental groups say that the plan undercuts cheaper wind, solar, and imposes long tail health costs going forward. because of coal. Expect litigation over leasing, royalties, and environmental reviews as projects advance pretty soon because Donald Trump loves some coal. More Trump news. Told you 4 out of 4. Trump seeks Supreme Court review of birthright citizenship executive order. The administration is petitioning for the Supreme Court to take a look at this, the expedited review of its order for narrowing birthright citizenship. Filing asks for courts to clarify the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause in light of modern immigration enforcement. Immigrant rights groups and constitutional scholars pay precedent, and the DOJ actually argued that this order is settled and there's no real nuance back and forth. Now, states and advocacy orgs are preparing for an amicus brief for a shadow docket move to possible hold things back. It's not guaranteed it's going to work, but we're going to see what happens. Accept it. Arguments could land in this term, like immediately. And citizenship when documentation impacts nationwide across us U.S. states. If you did not think that there are some things that are sort of in the wings we should be worried about, some of these things may make you have a little pause on what exactly 47's up to. We're not talking about Pete Hegseth and his big group of military generals happening today either, with Donald Trump in attendance for that one. A lot of comparisons to what happened before World War II, which is odd. Oh, by the way, one more Trump thing, 4-4 before we go to the break. Oregon is suing Trump and administration over the National Guard deployment to Portland. The AG of Oregon has moved for an emergency order to block their federalization and deployment of about 200 Oregon National Guard members to Portland. The suit challenges the president's authority and necessary change, citing local public safety capacity and civil liberties. Of course, Trump says it's a war-ravaged place up in Portland, so we're sending in the troops. Portland's like, no. DOJ defends Title X activation as time-limited, focused on protecting federal facilities, not so much wiping out the hordes of warriors that are roaming through the streets of Portland. City leaders warned of flashpoints around ICE facilities, and legal observers are saying fact-affiliated path must be done to get this thing from happening in the first place. Deployment orders are currently run for about 60 days unless the courts intervene. So once they're in place, you only get about 2 months of orders for folks being in place for whatever they're going to do, planting trees and walking people across crosswalks and standing around outside buildings. So they can't actually engage in any policing, even if they were needing for policing. Now, whether Portland needs policing is an issue. Maybe they do need a bit more heft in their work. But then we also know that the president can't order federal troops to run over cities because that's not how we do things here in the United States at the moment. Yet, possibly. Take a break from the dystopian worry and go to more kind of dystopian worry, if you will. That is the worry we have here at Conversation Project, where we have about keeping our things going, keeping our production up, because we need you to help us be here. We need you to watch. We need you to be a part of the show. And in order to do that, we need you to help us get more people in the queue. I can't go around knocking people's door at 5 in the morning saying, turn on your internets. So I need you to help me out with that process. Like, share, and subscribe to the work we're doing so more people may see it and more people enjoy it. If you like it, the algorithms will share with more people, whether it's on the X, whether it's on the Facebook, or if it's on YouTube. More people can see it because the algorithm will tell that it's something worthy of chatting up or seeing because more people seem to be liking it. Also, I know I'm doing the good parts and the good bits and the good news, or the bad news, the bad parts and bad bits, enough to get you engaged with us here. If you share it with like-minded people, they will hopefully engage in it just as well. And if you're not getting this in your feeds on a consistent basis, if it's random based off shares and likes, subscribe so you don't miss out on the fun we have here every single weekday morning, unless I miss it, to get you stories that are worthy of chatting up. We do that for you, do it for me as well, and we do it on a larger scale. So like, share, and subscribe to the work we're doing. Help us grow the News Nerd Nation that is the Conversation Project and this particular thing called Things You Might Not Have Heard. Cat Stevens may not be one of the bigger references, but it is a big name to put into the theory that is also basically Donald Trump related. Cat Stevens is postponing his North American tour over issues with visas, obviously, and not the credit cards that's everywhere we want to be, actually getting in and out of the country. Yusef, as he's now known by, but Cat Stevens from back in the 70s, postponed his U.S. dates, citing unresolved visa delays that upended production timelines. It was tied to a new book that was just slated to basically come out soon. The tour is supposed to start this week. Rescheduling is contingent on approvals of the visas, the travel ability to get in and out of this country. Statements note that rising costs, longer wait times are facing international performers in general. We talk about folks just as close as Mexico not going to come up here because of visa issues and production issues. This is happening for folks that are coming from even further because it's even more of a hassle. Additional outlets confirmed that postponements and flag fans to watch for new dates. If you really are a Cat Stevens fan, he's coming eventually. Just be ready for the come up there. The prior North American touring history suggests a viable path to new 2026 windows. They're going to figure it out. Oasis is coming, so hell, they're going to get here. They're going to make some money, and money needs to be made. It's just on top of the visas and the tariffs. Donald Trump has nothing to do with this one. It's Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban and their relationship. They are separating after 19 years of marriage. Couple has announced their separation. This reported by People magazine and Reuters later, reporting they've been living separately from each other actually since the summer, not been put together for months so far. No divorce filing has been set yet, nothing formal at least. Representatives have not issued any detailed statements other than the fact that, yes, they have been living together, separated for a few months already. The reporting emphasized that Kidman's efforts to salvage the marriage are there, but Urban remains on tour, so he's busy. Kidman's hoping to bring things together. ABC of Australia and Australian media echoed the separation with added sourcing from close contacts, essentially friends and people around him saying, yes, they are still married, but they're not actively living together at the moment. They share two daughters and a professional schedule that actually is, kind of wrapped up in things we do, but their schedules are so big, they don't want to be interrupted. They're working, they have things going on, including with their daughters' lives. We are putting out as much love and care and hope that they can resolve this as best as possible. I am an optimist, but I'm also a realist. People don't stay together forever because they don't have to, and especially people who are rich, famous, and have the resources to manage families and kids and lives much better than me and my wife do. They don't have to stick together because of circumstances. So if the circumstances beyond their relationship means they need to be apart, it is. But we always have the sort of semi joke that if these kids can't make it, what hope do we have? Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman had something that seemed good for right now. We'll have to see what's going to happen going forward. It's not Nick Saban. It's not Bruce Pearl. But maybe, just maybe, Paul Finebaum is the next senator from Alabama. Finebaum tells USA Today he's weighing a 2026 Senate bid in Alabama, leveraging decades of name recognition in SEC country. Because why the hell not? Early chatter centers on whether he run as a Republican and how his media contacts favor his FEC rules. Essentially, he's had the chance to basically talk up anything he wants to, and until he says he's running for the job, he can talk up anything he wants to and talk any way he wants to because he has that free speech going on. Will he do it? Who knows? It's crazy. Political pros are taking note that there's a high conversion cost from celebrity candidate. Think about that coach from Alabama that went to the Senate that may be governor. Think about all the talk about Bruce Pearl and maybe running for senator, although he's backing away for this time. Think about all the good high profile folks that were athletes that do make their way a pretty good line up, and many of them do very well. The biggest problem is the ones that don't, the ones that flame out, make it look bad for all the rest of them. It does take getting a staff, which they can probably put together, a ground game, and some fundraising discipline. Some of those folks, like maybe Finebaum, who's worked in the media industry and knows how money works, could have an advantage for things like that. Now, opponents would test his on-air personality and policy depth in debates. Essentially talking about all those kooky guests he talks about on the radio and how they talk crazy stuff. And he talks crazy stuff to SEC folks on the radio for years. That may be a down point, or that might just be his constituency, and it might be exactly what we need. Like I still vote in Alabama. Watch for an exploratory committee. That's a big word I always butcher. Before the end of the year, if his interest is real, he will poke the bear and see what happens. Pun intended. What happens for whether a run for the Senate is there. Now, why these people go for the big shot, swing for the fences outright? Well, he's not running for council anyplace else. He's not going to be a state senator. That's a ridiculous thing. You might as well go for the big name and the big dog, that being the big Senate, because there's question on who's going to try to shoot for that spot. Trump adjacent, but not so much Trump working. And this is Jared Kushner, the son in law, and the Saudis, the backers of Trump, who are also backing the son in law to move to acquire EA, the video game maker, in $55 billion and take it private. The group led by Jared Kushner and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund is backing the $55 billion take private electronic arts deal. Per USA Today, bid would rank among gaming's largest out there, just period, eclipsing prior EA deal rumors from tech and media suitors. EA has been up for basically sale for a while, or some sort of acquisition or some sort of joining, and looks like Kushner will be the man to run Madden going forward. Regulatory landmines include CFIS and antitrust reviews, plus scrutiny of foreign investors in U.S. media tech IP. But his father-in-law is the president, so maybe it won't be so bad. Analysts will parse debt load, cash flows from sports licenses, of course, Madden, the FIFA successors, that's there, and live service churn. EA's board now faces pressure to confirm talks or issue a no current negotiation statement. They haven't said anything yet, at least not that I've seen. I've seen plenty of articles popping up that these guys want to put the money up to buy it. But as far as I know, EA Sports, or EA and the title sports division, have not actually come out with a statement saying we don't want this. Although they've wanted things like this before, they may not want it from these people, but I think they kind of want this. So here's the deal. We give you quality news. We try to give you quality news. Try to give you quality news and stories that are a mix of things that aren't exactly on the mix of the mainstream media. They have talked about, as I said here all morning preparing for this, they've talked about most of the Trump things they talked about today. They talked about the Pete Hegseth meetings today. They talked about the government shutdown, all those things as well. Get a little spit in my glasses. So sorry about that. So we're going to clean my glasses on in real time and just do this thing and just be natural because we're family. We're family here. We're all close. So here's the deal. Ground News is a service that we've been using for quite some time, and we've partnered with them when we had the chance to, and we were glad to partner with them because they offer us and you great news coverage, all the news coverage that you can possibly stand. You get from Ground News links to various different sources, all of them, to see what your particular silo of news is talking about, whether they are a red side or a blue side, or if you stay towards the middle with the feeds that are mostly the wire services. You can see where the news is coming from, like literally, like who's backing them, who's paying for them, what's going on, how they work out. And from there, you can see if you're being sold a bill of goods in your news story, or if your news story is more or less sticking to the facts. Now, if you pay for their Vantage plan, you get extra boosts, including their blind spot feature, which allows you to see what stories particular venues sides are showing more of. You can see what stories that the conservative sides are doing more of to outshine the liberals, and vice versa. And if you use our affiliate link, which is this is a conversationproject.com/ground news, this is a conversationproject.com/ground news, you get a deal, a big deal, 40% off their plans for the year. So if you want to get your Vantage plan with all the features for less than $10 a month, or you want to get the basic plan for less than $1 a month, you can get better news in your inbox or in your feed on your phone via iPhone or Android, right there on your computer in your browser every day, all day from Ground News. So check it out. Our affiliate link is this. It's a conversationproject.com/ground news. We get a small commission for this, but we're giving you a chance at 40% off via Ground News. So take it. You'll want this one. This will get you better news immediately from Ground News. Quick reminder that our website home is this is a conversationproject.com. Our email address, the conversation inbox at gmail.com, facebook.com, and x.com are where you can find our feeds, other places to watch these videos and get our links to news stories that we post about every 50 minutes to get your engagement in them. You tell us what stories seem to be interesting, and we will help with that. Plus, whatever's breaking, that really is a big deal. Right now, what's breaking is, of course, the shutdown. We still have, it's 6 o'clock basically where I am. Central time. So although Eastern time is the real standard where it's going to be 7 o'clock, that gives you less than a day and a half, or less than a half a day Math is not working on my head right now. Not many hours to get to this hearing here. About 15 hours until it's shut down. Oh, I can just look at the clock up here. 17 hours. 17 hours until it's shut down. And something doesn't happen. And right now, tain't nobody talking. So there's that. So follow us in the feeds and see how this goes on Facebook.com/This is Conversation Project, X.com/TH_conversation, or email me, chat with me so we can chat these things up. Because while I do have a full-time day job that takes up a full amount of time, this is one that everybody's keeping an eye on. And I'll be definitely watching this one up to the point where I go to bed, assuming that shutdown will happen. Because I'm going to bed. I'm not going to stay up and watch this. Trust me. In the meantime, today is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. And for my birthday, it looks like I'm getting shut down, a day and a half later. It is what it is. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, being a part of the engagement. And thank you for the birthday love I got from many folks in the chat here yesterday. Another year around the sun, 51 for me, believe it or not. And we're going to shoot for another 51 at least. We're going to shoot for it. We'll see how close we can get. Meantime, love you so much, mean it so much. We have all the plans and designs to be here for you tomorrow morning. Let's see if we make it happen, or if I stay up late and wait for the shutdown to happen and just oversleep. I guess there's your cliffhanger for tonight.